Let's move to this conversation now. Now, in its input to the ANC's two-day Lekgotla, Cosatu says the ANC needs to reconnect with ordinary South Africans. The ANC's alliance partner says a week cannot go by without scandals involving NEC members making front-page newspapers, which it argues has had a negative impact on the local government elections last year. Unemployment figures have also hit record highs, and Cosatu says urgent action is required to address this. These are some of the inputs that were made by Cosatu President Zingiswa Losi at the ANC's NEC Lekgotla this weekend. Let's speak to her now about some of these submissions and more. Thank you so much, Ms. Losi, for your time this evening. Now, in your input, you say this Lekgotla has the opportunity to address and correct the crises facing the nation. You further say, are we here for the sake of tradition? Are you happy with the outcomes of the Lekgotla?
Thanks very much, Bongiwe, for having me on your show, and I must greet the listeners and viewers of SABC. We are to monitor. Look, it is easy for us to sit, meet, and discuss issues, and we all agree on what is to be done. What is important is when action is taken on all the decisions. That's why, Cosatu, when we spoke into the Lekgotla and we said, we have had the Mahotla. Now, what this Mahotla has not, and ANC has not done, is to make an assessment of the progress that the ANC has made in the decisions that were taken or resolutions of the past Mahotla before we get to this, the last Lekgotla. So importantly and critically, Bongiwe, it will be the actions that will speak louder than what is written in the piece of paper. So ours will be to agitate in the ANC to ensure that the decisions of this Lekgotla are being implemented. But what is in the paper is what is hope, but hope alone does not change the conditions of South Africans.
And one of the things that you say, though, in your inputs is that the movement is dying and only bold action can save it. I wonder, because some, when you speak to them who are looking at the current state of the ANC, say this is not an ANC that is capable of even addressing this and fixing itself. I wonder what kind of bold action are you talking about here? And if this current crop of ANC members, do you think that they're going to be able to address some of these bold actions that you're calling for?
The ANC, it is not the National Executive Committee necessarily in terms of individuals that are sitting there. The ANC is an organization, and the organization that belongs to the people. And the people who are members of ANC and who are supporters of the ANC, who love the ANC, who continuously vote for the ANC, must take the ANC to task in terms of its renewal and rebirth. You know, that's why as Cosatu, we always say that until the ANC takes bold decisions in ensuring that better few, but better, than bringing everyone who's carrying their skeletons to lead the ANC. And when those things are out in the open, it is not the individuals that must respond to what they are alleged to have done or proven, but it is then the ANC that gets to be tainted. So there are decisions that the ANC must make, which it means then it is the members of the ANC that must say, is this the ANC of Oliver Tambo? Is this the ANC that was given birth to in 1912? It is easy to realize that. Every leader of the ANC quotes Oliver Tambo. It must not be about quoting leaders. It must be about whether what those leaders said, is it what the ANC leadership today and the members of the ANC in the branches are living up to.
So let's get into the decisions that you talk about. And I'm borrowing from your input here at the Lekgotla. You say we deploy members to represent the movement, not themselves in government. Their mandate is the ANC's election manifesto. Yet we are now subject to persons who swore an oath to defend the Constitution, running to the media to rubbish the very Constitution this movement of Madiba drafted. It's unacceptable and unbecoming of senior leaders and cabinet members to attack the Constitution. The failure of the ANC to discipline deployees is feeding a culture of mediocrity. In fact, we are seen to reward and promote those who have been found wanting. If comrades are tired, then they must leave. As we emerge from a decade of state capture, we cannot tolerate ANC public representatives publicly attacking our Constitution. I'm reading this, and safe to say, you're talking about Tourism Minister Lindiwe Sisulu. Are you happy about the decision or non-decision that the ANC has taken around her? Because we're seeing reports that are varying, suggesting that some ANC NEC members were saying she cannot go unscathed, she must be punished, but others are saying no. So are you happy with the decisions that were taken around her at the NEC?
Look, Bongiwe, deliberately, Cosatu did not put names in our input because we're addressing a matter. We don't want to be dragged to be chasing shadows of individuals here. Because when the ANC, what the ANC does with its cadres is going to be the kind of the ANC that tomorrow the very same leaders will be leading. So that is why we're calling for an action to every member of the ANC that goes against the policies of the organization.
So you would concede, though?
If you read our input, it does not start by the matter of the Constitution. It starts about the ill discipline of members of the NEC who are dragging each other on Twitter, who are contradicting the very decisions of the NEC, unabated. So at the center of our input, it is not about individuals, because tomorrow another one will be making a statement, and then tomorrow Cosatu will want to be pulling. Ours is about a principled decision and principled position that the ANC must fundamentally, Bongiwe, ensure that the organization is standing by. So because if there's lack of discipline, everyone else is going to be doing as they wish and as they please, because there are no consequences.
Let's then ask this question. This is the opinion letter that is in the public domain, and it has drawn some serious criticism. And I know you say that you're not talking about members, individually by name. I wonder, how would you say then the ANC needs to deal with this? Because one of the things that has been quite clear is that we have seen the tit for tat that happened via statements last week, and seemingly nothing much is happening in the public domain. So let's then limit it to this particular opinion letter. What should be happening?
Bongi, the ANC is an organization that has a constitution. The ANC is an organization that has internal processes on how it should be handling matters of misconduct, transgression to its own policies and conduct. It does not need to be told by anyone on what is to be done. The ANC must do what is expected to do. So it can't be that all of us are going to be shouting on top of our lungs, calling for leadership to take action, because now people stray from the principles and the constitution of the organization, leaving people to the ANC into disrepute. ANC is in government, okay? The ANC deploys its cadres in cabinet and in parliament. Those that are deployed in cabinet take an oath into the constitution of this country to respect, defend that constitution. And if cadres of the movement who are deployees of the ANC in parliament have issues on how they themselves, as cadres of the movement, have failed to ensure that they live up to that constitution or because the Constitution put hindrances to them in doing their work, then the cadres of the movement come to the Lekgotla of the ANC and point out those issues that the Constitution that we have sewn into is having some holes here and there. And therefore, we believe that as the ANC, we need to take a serious look into these issues, because substantively, Bongiwe, it has made us to fail to deliver 1, 2, 3. Because as cadres of the movement, we have tried in our portfolios to ensure that we deliver on the mandate of the ANC to the people of South Africa. But because the Constitution has stood as a hindrance, therefore the ANC need to relook into this issue and allow the movement to debate that matter.
We're almost out of time, but I can't help but ask you this, because it looks like there may be some difference in statements here. The ANC has established an NEC task team to help guide it to implement the recommendations of the State Capture Commission. Now, some have raised concern that this may be a blurring of lines, because they should be allowing law enforcement agencies to be dealing with this decisively. And I'm looking at the inputs that you made to the Lekgotla. You say we need to see law enforcement agencies move with speed on acting on the findings. We also need to move at speed in implementing the recommendations. Isn't a task team, though, the long way around?
I think, Bongiwe, we need to ask the ANC to unpack what it meant.
But as an alliance partner, are you not concerned?
No, the reason why I'm saying that the ANC needs to, how it intends to do that, or how that is going to resolve the issues. Because definitely one may assume, actually, let me say this, that it does not mean that task team would then be a replacement of the state organs. Because when that report is being handed to the head of state, remember it was handed to the Honorable President Cyril Ramaphosa as the head of state, not to the ANC. And therefore, the president of the country must then implement the recommendations of the State Capture Commission, of the Zondo Commission.
Ms. Losi, in 10 seconds,
that the ANC will be undertaking maybe a process that is internal, but not that which must replace the process that the state must deal with the recommendations of the Zondo Commission.
Unfortunately, we're pressed for time. In 10 seconds, the ANC has not paid its workers. The statement you put out, in fact, the input, you are lambasting them, you're condemning them. But condemnation does not equal to salaries being paid. What are you going to do to ensure, as Cosatu, that these salaries that have not been paid since last year are paid expeditiously?
We have a union called NIHAU. That when we realized the crisis that the workers at Lutuli House are facing, NIHAU went and organized those workers. Every action that has been taken by workers at Lutuli House is led by NIHAU, because they are members. Cosatu is busy and is doing something with all of those issues. So those processes were dealing with the ANC as an employer to those workers. And NIHAU is representing them as their union. They are now organized. They are organized under the NIHAU. Every action that those workers are taking at Lutuli House is guided and under the guidance of their union, that is NIHAU.
All right.
So Cosatu as a federation is involved in these matters. We are interacting with NIHAU that is organizing in that workplace.
All right, Ms. Losi, thank you so much for your time. Certainly do appreciate it, and I hope we do get to speak again, because your input here has a lot more points that really we need to spend some time unpacking, as the unemployment, the UIF, as well as the compensation fund. But thank you so much. We'll leave it there for now. That was Cosatu President Zingiswa Losi. Oli is standing by with the very latest in sport.